And welcome, everybody. Welcome to Rick Snider's Washington on YouTube, where you get the whole story. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, even hit the thanks button. And somebody will show up in a moment as we get going. If you're watching this on replay, thanks for coming on in too. As soon as the show's done, it goes into replay, and more people watch it then. So where is everybody? I know I was a minute late. There it is. Steve's here already. I know, I'm late. I was watching Jeopardy. What can I say? I didn't have the final answer. All right, we'll let everybody load in. Weird. It says nobody's here, but yet somebody said hi. And Michael's here. I guess YouTube is behind counting. All right. Yeah, I was trying to think how many more weeks we're going to do this before I take a break, but at least through the Super Bowl. And after that, we'll see. I was getting tired. I almost fell asleep on the couch. All right. Let's see. Anybody else in here yet? No? All right. Probably going to be a low night. Just three of us. All right. Well, oh, man, Steve, you got that one right. That was a hard Jeopardy. I mean, sometimes I can answer a few questions, but that was a hard one. Let me ask my buddy if he can do it. Let's see. Hi, everybody! No, okay. Poor Andy. Andy's in the AFC Championship. I think he's going to lose, but no, I'm not. Andy, that's next week's show. No, you're right. It's this week's show. Next week's the Super Bowl show if you make it. And Andy, he loves to come on my show and say, we don't really look that much alike, but I can look like Andy when I want. All right. So, yeah, the playoffs yesterday, I liked the only thing I got right was Cincinnati. But I just liked them. I think Buffalo's a good team, but Cincinnati's a better team, and they showed it. I love watching Burrow. To me, he's the most interesting quarterback to watch since Brady. Now Brady's tailing off. So, man, Burrow, that kid's just a gamer. I wasn't surprised Philly beat the Giants. A little surprised how much, but, there. And then Kansas City. Kansas City's going to go against Cincinnati. I could see Cincinnati winning, and everybody else say, "Oh, no fair." Mahomes was hurt. The way it goes. I mean, a healthy Mahomes, yeah, but you don't get healthy on a high ankle sprain in a few days. I'll give the guy credit. If he can play a decent game with a high ankle sprain, that's tough. And the Cowboys lost, but what surprise there? Surprised as close as it was. Let's see. We got questions already. Well, Purdy's a gamer. Yeah, I mean, I like Purdy. What is he, 8-0? I mean, that's ridiculous. It just shows you how ridiculous it was not to want to play Sam Howell. You got to take your chances with young quarterbacks and just see what you come away with. Because sometimes, they were talking about Garoppolo may not be ready for this game. I wouldn't play Garoppolo if I was 49ers. You got a guy that's just won his first 8 games. Why in the world would you switch now? If it sucks in the third or fourth quarter and you need Garoppolo to maybe come in and help you, okay. But I'm not changing. It's the same thing Ron didn't want to jump off of his, Taylor until we lost. You can't do that. So, and Dallas is being Dallas. That's true. One of you just sat here. It's not a star. What do they say? It's a rating, 1-star rating. Ooh, that's a good one. Hal has the same winning percentage as Purdy. Yeah, it's true. Batting 1,000 on everything. So I did write for 106.7 The Fan today. You can get it on Odyssey.com. That the Commanders should look at what Philadelphia Eagles did in this past offseason. I'm not surprised Phillies did as well as they did. They picked up some good players in the draft, although those guys got hurt a little. They picked up some guys off the wire effectively. They spent their free agency money well. I just thought, wow, they really picked up a bunch of good players. And it wasn't anything that Washington couldn't have done too, but they did. So to me, Philly showed you this is how you do it. So Washington should kind of wonder, gee, how'd they do that? So now, because look at it this way. 2017, the Eagles, go to the Super Bowl. By 2020, they're 4-11 and 1. What they do? Fire a coach, sell the quarterback. It blew it up, and it all came back right for them. Now, of course, Jalen Hurts playing well. He was a 53rd overall pick in 2020 draft. So it just shows you can do this. You don't need 5-year plans. They basically rebounded in 2. A lot of teams do. Look at Cincinnati. They got it right. They got the quarterback right. They got a receiver right. And Jamar Chase. Boom. They're so much better. So you look at Washington. Okay, I think they got their receiver right on Jahan Dotson. But things happen. He got hurt a little and all that. But to me, it was a good pick. And plus trading down got him more picks like Howe. And so I think that all worked out well. But I don't know. Ron's thing about patience, screw patience. I ain't got time for patience. I don't know if you guys saw the Wizards trade today. They traded Hachimura to the Lakers for a bag of balls. I mean, it was a ridiculous trade. Hachimura is a nice player, has done a decent job with them. And they trade him to the Lakers for a guy that they'll let go after the season, point guard, and 3 seconds, including a 20, 28, and 29 second rounder. Well, they can't even get anybody on the first round, but you're asking for twos down the road? That's ridiculous. They gave away a decent player. This team can't give away players. I don't know. To me, the luckiest man down in such a capacity does. And I like Ted, and I admire a lot what Ted's done as a businessman. But he stinks as a Wizard coach. And if they got the same scrutiny that the Commanders did, Ted would be, tarred and feathered and run out of town because the Wizards have been awful during his tenure. And the Caps, thank God for Ovi. They had some other good players too, but Ted's not exactly the greatest owner either there. Are Wentz and Taylor officially free agents now? No, nobody's a free agent until free agency starts, Bob, which is, I think, March 15th. So, no. You can cut somebody now if you want. They would be a free agent there. Michael says, Shepard is Grunfeld Jr. Yeah, boy, I never thought I'd have to say that. But, Ernie couldn't find a good player if he had the first pick in the draft most of the time. No, he did get John Wall. Okay, I'll give you that. If it was the second pick in the draft, he wouldn't have gotten it right. Ted's using the Wiz as a tax write-off? Well, I guess. I don't know. They probably make money. Losing Hachimura, they were so big on Hachimura because, Japanese player, they thought, Japan really followed a lot of the Wizards games. Heard a lot about it, but it didn't quite translate into the money. Because when you stink, people aren't going to follow you, on there. The other big story today, which was stupid, and I warned everybody a month ago that you were going to start seeing stupid stories about this sale. And this one came from the New York Post. It said, Jeff Bezos is going to sell the Washington Post as a peace offering to Dan Snyder so that Dan will sell him the Commanders. Dude, that's such a stupid story that I know got planted by you-know-who. But if Bezos sells the Post, and I'm not saying he wouldn't sell the Post because they're losing money. And they're down 500,000 subscribers, I read, since the days of Trump. So Trump said he'd miss me when I'm gone and Post me a lot of money, banging up on Trump. So they're down 500,000 subscribers, I'm sure, digitally. So, Bezos may do that. He's not a newspaper man for life. He didn't really revolutionize a lot of things online for the newspaper that promised, but he did fund it, and they were expanding. But to me, the Washington Post, Bezos laid off some people, including me. I worked at the Post Express version. I got laid off, what has it been, 3 years? Something like that. And they're expanding, but they're trying to be a national paper. If you look at the Washington Post and the New York Times websites, I swear to God, they're writing the same stories. They just look at what the other guy has and go back and write it. And that's not what I want to pay a local paper to do. I want to read about local life. I can read USA Today if I want to read that, or the New York Times. The Post is being redundant more than relevant in this kind of thing. So they have their own troubles too. But Jeff Bezos is not selling the paper just to appease Danny. Because this is all about money. Money. Keep saying that to yourself. Money, money, money. Anybody says anything else, just say money, 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 because that's really all it's about. And Dan Snyder's not going to say, I've taken your bid for $200 million more, but, You still own the Post. Come on, man. That's nonsense. Only a sucker reads stories like that and believes them. But there's a lot of suckers out there, and I had several friends send it to me today going, look at this. First off, I'm on top of the news. I know what's going on. I'm one of the people who knock. We're not the ones fearing the knock. I'm one of the guys who knock. So I don't need to hear about somebody else has something. Because chances are I already got it or know it too. All right. Bezos just kept Fred Ryan and Sal Busby. I don't know. Okay. Hassan, how's the sales process compared to the last one so far? Man, that's an interesting thing. About the same, except it was an estate trustees doing this the last time, of which John Kent Cook was one of them. And he was supposedly one of the bidders, but he wasn't. He was a straw bidder trying to raise the price up on all this and get 10% of it. So if there had only been like one bidder, well, it could have gone for 300, 400, 500 million. Now you got two bidders, you're going up higher. It went to 800, and John got 10% of that, plus something else for being on the board too. So, but it takes a while, like the last time. But the last time, Milstein became the primary bidder, and he didn't have the money, didn't have the cash. So that dragged things out a lot longer than it should have. I still think this one could still be done maybe by March. But, we'll see. Let's see. Certified Yam Inspector, Daddy Smokes Yams. Wow, that's a nice name. Rick Eisenberg. Okay. He's laughing. I'm not sure why. So, wow, we do have a small crowd tonight. Okay. Well, football is about over. Got to do something else with your time. That's why I say we're covering the fire sales known as the Washington Wizards. I thought the Nats were for sale too, but haven't seen anything on that in a while. I guess they wanted too much. So is Ron meeting Danny this week to talk about how much money he can blow? Asked Steve. Actually, they met last week, and we didn't hear it, but I want to understand it was don't buy anything expensive. Buy generic. Don't get that expensive stuff. So that's typical of a seller. You don't want to spend anything big. I wouldn't. Nobody does. So I just think this is going to be a very so-so year again, and then next year is when a lot of changes. You have a new owner, but not in time to really make the changes everybody would like right away. So I think this year is kind of just a wait and see year, and then next year is when all hell breaks loose and you can do what you want. Not get any younger. 30% down, you're not taking it seriously, says Michael. Yeah, that's right. That's the rule. Milstein wouldn't do it. He thought he could just pledge the money or something. But finally, he had to withdraw the bid, or they were going to vote him out that day. The Breaking Bad reference was funny. Which one was that? Lame duck here to get rid of Snider, says Hassan. Yeah, I don't blame him. I mean, it's worth it. I mean, he'll be gone, so that would be nice. I guess he's going to be interested to see. If he thinks the papers over here are tough, he's moving to London. If he buys a soccer team over there, even a small soccer team, you can buy some of the third-tier soccer teams. I was reading you can get them for like $5 million. So suppose he wants to do that, and then what you do is you try to do well and grow into divisions. Not that I'm a big Premier League soccer expert, but I do understand the basics. So he could buy himself a small team and try and grow it up to something big. But if he thinks press coverage here stuff, wait till you see what happens over there. Whew. Ask Prince Harry. Prince Harry, everybody read the book yet? I haven't, but my wife did. And I said, what happened? She goes, well, Prince Harry's brother was mean to him. I thought, well, if that's a book, I got the Encyclopedia Britannica for you. So, my brother was mean to me? Come on, man. Just beat him up and be done with it, Harry. You could take William. He looks like a sissy to me. Harry was in the military. Oh, it shows you what the off-season shows get like, huh? Favorite restaurant in D.C., Alexander asked me. Wow, I have hard times doing stuff like that. But I do like Old Ebbitt Grill downtown. I think they have good food, and it's a nice place. But Philomena's in Georgetown is authentic Italian. You're not leaving out of there without a button in your pants, man. It's at least one button. Not the whole thing. Let's not do anything weird. So that's a good one, too. That's offhand. There's a couple of them right there to think of. Michael says he's going to buy Manchester United because he loves to be hated. Yeah, man. But Man U used to be good, too. Now Man City stunk. They flipped it. I don't know a lot about soccer somehow, but I do know that. If you go to, there's a Twitter site that talks about RFK's final days. And today they had about the Mooney wedding that was at RFK. I'd forgotten about that. I used to work at the Washington Times. I knew some members of the Unification Church. They really seemed like conservative Republicans to me, which is what the paper was. I worked in sports, so I didn't really get into that much. But I knew some of them that married in those mass weddings and all. They seemed happy. We're married a long time. It's their business. I don't care. All right. Let's see. What else we got? Oh, so if you want to come to town, the Smithsonian has new exhibits in the American history with all the cool pop culture entertainment stuff. So you can see Prince's guitars now there. And they bring stuff back, like Dorothy's red slippers are back. Archie Bunker's chairs are in there now. Babe Ruth's bat. I mean, there's just tons of stuff. So it's worth going just to see that. Alexander asked, didn't the Epic Grill exist before the Civil War? Not exactly. There's been a restaurant on that site since 1806, which is just down the block from the White House. Old Ebbett wasn't there then. I'm not sure, I forget what year they started the actual name Old Ebbett. Harry Houdini used to perform in that building that had a vaudeville, and he used to hang upside down off the ledge of the roof, and passersby would see Harry Houdini upside down trying to escape or something, and they'd go in and see the show. It was his way of getting everybody in the building. So who knew that one? It's all the useful stuff I know as a tour guide too, which is right there. Yeah, if you want to go on tour. Spring's going to be a good one. I'm going to be doing Alexandria tours this year. I've been studying it. We walked it the other day. There's this one thing called Captain's Row where sea captains live. And one of the captains had 20 children with his first wife, and she died. Gee, you can't imagine why. And then he had 8 more, I think, with his second wife. 28 kids. Woo! That's the kind of useful stuff I know when I talk about it. They have these things called spite houses in Alexandria. They have 3 of them left. And I said, what, do spiteful people live there? And they're like, as a matter of fact, yes. They were alleys, and people made homes of them to block the alley from people. And the homes are 7 feet wide. Now, they go a long way down the alley, but 7 feet wide. That's pretty cool. It's stuff like that we talk about. All right, DMV Sports asks, Lamar Jackson prediction? Pain. I think he stays in Baltimore. They'll talk about it. He should get an agent. Oh, I hadn't even brought this up yet, but if you'd like to hit the thanks button like Certified Yam Inspector just did, $3, thank you. It's a way of saying thanks for taking an hour out of your day, Rick, to come do this when you're tired at the end of the day and you still want to talk to us. So I appreciate it anytime people do it. So like when I do tours, people ask me about tipping. I've been a tour guide licensed for 13 years in Washington. I like tips, but if they don't, I don't worry about it. It's just I get paid to do the tour anyway. So, but if you'd like, but that doesn't mean I don't like to see people reach in their pocket at the end. But hey, I do this for a living. The writing career is kind of winding down thanks to the pandemic. So, I had a friend call me the other day, said he got laid off. I was like, dude, I got laid off 6 times in 8 years. By the end, I couldn't even feel it anymore. I just said goodbye to everybody. It's tough getting pink slipped that many times. Including Jeff Bezos pink slipped us with 8 hours to go in the group I was with. Thanks, Jeff. All right, Hassan, random question. I always wondered if Gibbs would have taken Aaron Rodgers had he fallen to 25 instead of Jason Campbell and Marino instead of D. Green in 83. Much as I love D. Green, you always take the quarterback, and of course Marino's a great one like that. I didn't remember that Marino went a pick before Green. I don't know. I've never heard him talk about the Aaron Rodgers thing. So, but I'm not sure that was Gibbs picking that year, to be honest. I don't think so. Alexandria, before segregation, black students in D.C. had to go to Alexandria for high school. Well, but they had black high schools in D.C. A lot of them, they're still around. Coolidge, Cardozo, Eastern. There's some of them that are closed, too. So I don't know. Maybe they did it one time. Alexandria was pretty, the segregation. You might have seen the movie, Remember the Titans, T.C. Williams. And what I understand from older people, that the movie has some truth to it, but there was a lot of stuff that was Hollywoodized too. So I know that Alexandria was not an easy desegregation spot. I was in 7th grade when PG County desegregated, but we didn't have special just black only schools or white only schools. And we had people in both. I was on a sports team wrestling in the winter, and we would go through December in the schedule, and then come January, everything blew up. But my school was pretty much the same, which is right above me there because my ISMA. It's my old. I know this sounds stupid. Eugene Burroughs Junior High. I found the hat in one of my boxes when I moved, and I was like, "Oh man, I started on this team or played on this team like 50 years ago." I put it back up. People think it means something else, but it's just a public junior high school hat cap. Probably one of the oldest things I own. Inside this shirt. Hey, if people like this shirt, they give me all kind of hard time about it. I don't walk out on the street with this one, but it's good for the cameras. Let's see. The unknown. Would you trade for Lamar if you could? Probably not, because he probably won't weigh too much. And just, I don't know. He's had a good career. I just worry about getting people in the last part of their career. I'm not sure he'd be worth it. GW, Washington drafted Carlos before Aaron Rodgers. Okay. And Carlos was a decent player. I heard he's trying to get back in the league again. Good luck with that. Do I think Charlie Taylor number to get retired next? Yes, Mojo Daddy. No, I think it's got to either be Riggo or D Green. I would say Charlie is a possibility. Larry Brown's a possibility. But it's hard once you get to a certain point, of that. I don't think you should have retiring numbers just to do it every year. And you really can't. But to me, I think I would take D Green next over Riggo. But that's a close one. Let's see, Alexander. I grew up in Northeast D.C., and some of my neighbors graduated high school in the 40s and 50s and said they were ordered to attend TCU Williams. Okay, I didn't know that. All right. I was Ward 8, Anacostia baby, growing up. My parents moved to PG County in the 60s. First day junior high, we're supposed to be at Oxon Hill. Okay. Certified, but I caught the wrong bus and it took me to Burroughs. Wow. Okay. Yeah, you were about 10 miles in the wrong direction there. All right, Oxon Hill Junior High. Sure, I remember it. We used to compete against them all. Michael, Ree was competing with Porzingis for minutes. True. And so Porzingis was getting the time. I don't know, work it out. Good players, figure out a way to get him on the court. I would have tried to change something there. I just don't give him away for 3 seconds and a guy you're going to toss later. That seems dumb on everything. So in the off season, let's see, I think it's around March 15th will be free agency. So we actually, the Super Bowl is now February 12th. Man, it takes forever now. So yeah, we'll have a month. But the combines in there. There's always something going on. People always ask me, "What do you do in the off season? Take a nap?" I mean, always something going on. And with this team, there's always something going on, and the sales going on. So there won't be too many quiet weeks, And of course, the draft's end of April. There's always stuff going on. I have not worked on a mock draft yet or any of that. I'm trying to take the week off or two after. I've been sick lately, so try to take the end of the season, take a little time, and just work on a 40-hour week or something with all my endeavors that I have. Got another new book I'm writing. Be done. Not on Commanders, Redskins. It's a non-sports book. So I'm staying busy enough. But I'm also realizing, get to the age where I've had 5 family members or friends pass away recently, and you realize you got to enjoy the time while you can. And if I hated doing this, I wouldn't do it. So I enjoy it. If Anthony Richardson is available for the draft, do we take him? Ask Josiah's Electric Gaming. I don't know. I have to think about that. My favorite fictional book, Alexander asked. The Hobbit. I would say Lord of the Rings, because they're just so interesting in the movies. I liked Harry Potter books. My kids were reading them, so I read them all with them. I mean, who reads books like this? Yet they did. So I read some stuff. There's a new Grissom book out. I'd like to read. I find John Grisham, pretty good. I read a lot of history, but I read something different now and then just to read something different. Let's see, Ramon. If trading Reed opens our ability to sign Kuzma, I would trade him 10 out of 10. I just think Kuzma's on the down end of his career, and Reed is still had something for you. Let's see. The unknown ism. Have the Washington Commanders football team, Redskins organization, ever been drama free? Yeah. I mean, during the Super Bowl years, they were pretty drama free because Gibbs kept it that way. Not that the guys didn't do stupid stuff, but the scrutiny wasn't there as much either. So if somebody got in legal trouble, then you had to deal with it. But other than that, we didn't have social media. We didn't have all these ways of finding things out. I mean, I can remember Frostberg drinking with players. This is before cell phone cameras. So once that happened, once cell phone cameras came out, game changer on what happens about people's lives. So we used to have a deal. What happens at Duncan's stayed at Duncan's. My only caveat was don't get arrested. If there's a police report, then I've got to write about this. But otherwise, we kind of mind our own business at times. Drink your own beer, play some foosball with the guys, have some fun. If there was a fight over a woman in the bar, we kind of stayed there. Nobody talked about it. But now with cameras, everything changes. Yeah, they probably would keep Kuzma going without going into luxury tax. You're right about that, Michael. Ooh, Ball Guy says somebody else makes sense. Ooh, Ball Guy's kind of a rough guy too. Oh, watch, now I'm asking for it. Great. It's like poking the bear. Great. Let's see. Wow, we're already halfway through the show. Man, that went quick. I don't know. So this week's games, Kansas City playing Cincinnati. I'll bring my guest picker in. Hi, everybody. I'm picking us. We're going to the Super Bowl again. Really, Andy? Wow. Well, who do you like in the other game then? San Francisco versus Philly. Who cares? We'll kick both their butts. They can play together. We'll kick their butts. Wow. You heard it from Andy. Why do people think Andy and I look alike? Well, if I put on the red hat and shirt and all and kind of get there, maybe, I lost a little weight, so I'm not as big as Andy anymore. Yeah, I could kind of see it a little bit. My wife and kids say it too. So, all right. Anyway, that's Andy's picks for you. I actually like Cincinnati, and I've been struggling to figure out San Francisco, Philly. I think I'm going to take Philly, but I don't know. Check back Friday. What was the moment you told you Snider was a terrible owner? Asked Alexander. Man, firing Charlie, really. I knew that wasn't going to be good. And just the first year, the way he acted like a guy who, if you go back to high school, one of the nerds that wants to hang out with the jocks and be one of the cool guys, but he's a nerd. That's what Dan is. And it's okay now to be a nerd since Big Bang Theory made him popular. It's okay to be your inner nerd. Be who you are. Be you, as they say. But Dan can't be that way. And he overcompensates. He's an introvert who does things over the top, trying to be an extrovert, but he's not. I would just be so glad to say goodbye. Ball Guy. Just rode by Cap 1. Massive banner on the side of the building with reefer starters. Really? All right. If you go down the Alexandria waterfront, a couple of blocks away from King Street, I forgot to take a picture of it. There is a massive Georgia banner hanging off the wall by the water. I mean, this thing has to be, 30, 40 feet tall and 75 feet wide easily. So I don't know who's a bulldog there, but it's right down there, right near King Street. So I'll have to, next time I walk by, I'll take a picture. So Alex remembers Jay Gruden getting in trouble for off-field stuff. Yeah. That kind of came to light, didn't it? Well, it's your business and your spouse's business, however you conduct yourself. But, with cell phone cameras and all that now, man, there's no privacy in America anymore. Used to be able, you could punch somebody and nobody'd see it. Not anymore. Not that Jay did that. Wow, more Wiz. Okay, Michael says the Wiz had to remove the FTX cryptocurrency from their uniforms. Yeah, man, that sure went bad. I never believed in cryptocurrency. it may come back and I'll be a fool, but not me, man. That's funny money to me on there. So, all right, let's see what else we got going on. It's a little quieter today than normal. Well, that's all right. It's off season. In the off season, we always talk about something. So I'll see how many times I keep doing this. Alexander, did Monte Nicholson drop off a dead person at the hospital? Kinda. That's a long story though on there. Yeah, some crazy stuff happens sometimes. I once did a story on a guy who opened a cemetery because I freelance and do different things. And a guy was telling me stories one after another. I mean, a cemetery guy, they got some funny stories. He said this woman comes in and says, "I want you to bury my husband." He says, "All right, no problem. What funeral home's he at?" She goes, "Oh, he's not at the funeral home." He goes, "What, the hospital?" He goes, "No, he's in the car. He died. They got him in the car, and she took him to the cemetery to be buried." But the problem is, you cannot, and I found this out from somebody else recently. You know how funerals today seem like they take a week or two before you can get to a funeral? So I asked the director when my cousin passed, I said, "Why does it take so long?" He says, "Because the state has to sign a death certificate and approve it all before you can bury somebody." So he said, that's why it takes longer now. And that's why they couldn't bury that woman's husband that day on everything. So that dude has some funny stories, though. I could go all day with those. I also did a funeral home woman who opened it up, and I said, "Is it creepy, embalming people?" She goes, "No, come on, I'll show you." And I said, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, I got a guy downstairs we got to do. Come on, I'll show you how to do it." No, I'm not doing it. No. So it was wild. Some days I like to write other stories just to do other stories. Let's see. Michael's waiting for Taiwan Ted to own the Nationals. Well, we'll see what happens there. Funny money like a $2 bill. Those are real things. I get one in change now and then. I hate that because nobody wants to take them back. $2 bills were considered cursed money because in the old days at racetrack, and this is up to about 1990, they used to have $2 betting windows. And so being a horse racing bettor, kind of meant you were a degenerate in a way. Not so much anymore. And so if you had $2 bills, that meant you were at the track and you were a degenerate. That's why they really weren't popular. Who I think the next owner will be? I will say this. Keep an eye on Clear Lake, which is a hedge fund out west. If it's not Jeff, it's that guy. I think it'll be them. They made a big move in Denver. I think they could do it again. C.M. Martin, as a tour guide, what are your top 3 DC attractions most have not heard of? All right, things like Spanish Steps, which are patterned after the one in Italy, but about 10% of it. Teddy Roosevelt Island, which is technically DC, but you can only get it from the Virginia side near the Kennedy Center. The big statue of Teddy in the middle of the thing. It's a really cool place to go walk. A lot of people go there. It's an island. Third one, huh? Okay. Let's see. I do a lot of stuff like Embassy Row walks, which have all kind of curious things on them. I do a Lincoln assassination walk with a lot of curious stuff. Spy tours. I do all kind of stuff. Ghost tours. Although I do not do, ooh, it's creepy. I don't do that because I can't fake it. And I think you're ripping people off doing those things. Thoughts on Jeff Bezos potentially selling the Post, Alexander? He's not selling the Post for these reasons. If he sells, it's because he wants to get out of a business investment. But Bezos is not doing this to appease Snider. That's just somebody trying to plan a story notice how these stories come out of New York, where a certain owner has more friends, I guess, in the media because he has none in DC. Allison Hannigan is one of my top 3 DC attractions. Okay. Alex, is Bezos selling or not? Not. All right. Not at least for this reason. If he wants to sell it, I could see it happening, but it's not for this reason. There's talk about Bloomberg wants to, the guy from New York wants to buy the Post. God help him. Tight wide as he is, ruin it. Dominic Porter, do I have a chance to get in on Lamar Jackson or Aaron Rodgers? Well, of the two, I'd say Lamar maybe, but I don't think they'll spend the capital to get him. That's going to be expensive. First, it's going to cost you about $40 million in the cap. Second, it's going to cost you some picks. And so I don't see it happening. And Aaron, I don't think Aaron wants to come here. Aaron wants to go somewhere, you know. So it's sort of like, where does Brady want to go? You know, does Brady want to go, say, to San Francisco? But hey, got Brock Purdy 8-0. And suppose he gets them to the Super Bowl. You can't do this. So I'll have to think of the list. But Aaron wants to go somewhere it's just a player away. Michael would buy the Post, but Prince will come in dinosaurs. Yeah, I know. And I'm the T-Rex of it all. So I'm out of newspapers right now. Well, no, I've had one. I do write for one. Let's see. Will Ryan had his message retracted, so he must have been a bad boy. I told my 5-year-old granddaughter the other day that I didn't get anything for Christmas because I was bad. She was mortified. Santa didn't bring you anything? I said, no, I got coal. She was like, you got to be better. So I told her to quit ratting on me. Who are my favorite reporters on the beat? Alexander asked. In the old days, tell you the best reporter I ever went against was Richard Justice of the Post. Whew, was he tough. He was a really good guy, but man, was he tough on there. Let's see, is Sam Howell going to be a starter? Will ask. He's got a chance to be. Would say that, but let's see what else they do. Let's see. Well, Steve threw in some money. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. So far, it's been mostly a rebuilding century. Yeah, the rise of ball. Every time they get almost okay, then they go back down. Let's see. Michael says Tom Brady will cost $37 million. Depends on what he wants, where he wants to go, and how badly does he want to do it. He doesn't need the money. Although that cryptocurrency thing kind of bit him in the butt too, I guess. Who was the player that took his money all in crypto? I bet that guy was regretting it. Forget who it is. Everybody's like, I think he was a rookie, and everybody thought, oh, he's so trendy and smart. And it didn't work out, did it? On there. We had a lot of good guys on the beat, though, and but me and the Post guys, we usually stayed apart because you're trying to beat this guy every day. I take it seriously. I want to win every day when I reported against people as a beat. And when I got beat once in a while, I counterpunched the next day. So kind of hard to be friends with a guy. We were respectful to each other, because I didn't like to make it personal. Because I was just doing my job. They were just doing their job. But I met John Keim on the beat 1994. So John's coming up almost 30 years. We're good friends. So you meet guys, and you spend a lot of time with each other. And today they get along much better. Beat writers get along much better than we ever did. I wanted to put the knife in your back, and I expected you to do the same. But that's not. It's a kind of gentler world now we're living in. Ball guy, right in the metro the other day, past old RFK. So sad. Well, maybe you get to stop there in a few years and get to revisit a new place. Would not be surprised if Bezos, in particular, gets a team. They could go to RFK, and they have a second metro stop. It's not ever been opened, but they can develop it. It's right by the parking lot to the side of the stadium. They would use that too. Michael said he met Shirley Povich when he was still writing for the Post. Okay, so I used to cover horse racing in the 80s, and Shirley Povich was near the end of his career. And I didn't really know him well, but he liked to sit at my desk before I got there because it was right by a big TV monitor, and he and his brother would eat lunch, bet on the horses. And when I showed up, I'd be like, Shirley, do I come to your office and eat lunch on your desk? And he would move. He was really nice about it. And I didn't realize, I guess, I was a punk kid, that this was an icon that I'm still chasing. Shirley did 75 years of sports writing in this town, although 50 as a full-timer. I think about 25 as a part-timer. But still, I'm at year 45 and flaming out. This dude and he wrote some tough, good stories. Shirley was a legend. And there's a couple press boxes named for him, and deservedly so. Maybe I get one for me, the next Redskins Stadium, or whatever it's called. Second Metro near RFK. Yes, Alexander, it's true. Although it's not open, but they have a spot. If you were looking straight at RFK, it would be on the parking lot just past on the left. And I've had the general manager of the stadium Well, about 4 or 5 years ago, show me exactly where it is. And it's on the books and all. They just never needed it, so they never used it. But it's right, it's above ground. Um, so you would be coming from the east side of the city to use that one. If if and when it happens. Let's see. The Burgundy line. Ooh, I like that one, huh? That'd be good. The Burgundy line. I like that. Alexander, Tom Rivera said that Shirley lived on the Delaware beach and never came to the office. Now, I don't know if that's true. I mean, maybe in his later years or something, but I used to see him at Laurel Racetrack all the time, at the end of his career. So I don't know. In the old days, you could use the telegraph and they would send their stories in that way, before the computers. So they would, I mean, they had telegraph machines. I've seen them in press boxes a long time ago, where they had a teletype guy there. People would hand him the stories, have the special code to go to the paper that was supposed to be like your email address now, and the guy would send it in. They'd all get drunk like hell. Nobody could ever see what they were doing. There's some drinking stories in the newspaper business. I started in '78. I got a piece of that. All right. Once Dan Snyder is out of the DC sports picture, will Ted Williams just finally start getting some heat? Asked Sean. I think he should. I just think the Wiz have been pathetic. I mean, come on, man. It's been how many years has he owned it? They've always stunk. At best, they've been okay. The Bradley Beal thing was going to haunt them for a while. It just wasn't the guy to spend that money on. Horse and buggy days, well, not exactly ball guy. Stone tablets, though. Alex, wasn't alive for RFK. Okay. Would like to take the pop to a game at RFK. Yeah, my dad and I went to games. When I was a kid, he'd take me to the Senators games because my father thought football was stupid, so we never went to any of that. But my dad was a big baseball guy, and so am I. I like baseball better than football. But my dad would take me, and just as a kid, I remember if you've been to Tunnel 8, Lot 8's tunnel, I remember as a kid walking through, I think it was like everybody would moo and you would be pushing your way through. And I was a kid, my dad would say, drugs. And when I became an adult and came back through there, I go, hey, I know this place. It was much bigger back then. So it's funny how you remember that. My dad loved to have seats at the top of the stadium because they were the cheapest. And I'd say, Dad, can't we sit down lower? He goes, those seats aren't any better. And I ended up doing that to my kids. So at Nats games, like you could spend $5. RFK was a good baseball stadium to watch games though. I used to watch even from right field stands, and it was good. You could still see. Michael says the Caps and Mystics have won championships. Wiz haven't been close. Yeah. So does Teddy get credit for those? But yeah, yes. But we're talking about the Wiz. Let's see. Josiah says, I was wondering about the legal issues with the Wolves, ASU, the name. I can't read it all anymore. I don't know. Next guy can come along and try and get it if he wants. I mean, Jeff Bezos could offer Arkansas, free shipping for everybody. I don't know. There's a way. You want something bad enough, you can get it. We all know that. All right. Let's see. Wow, I got 15 minutes to go. Hit the thanks button. Send a few bucks Rick's way because Rick's poor. I'm an old pensioner now. Still doing this, but it's not the lucrative business you guys think it was. I did okay in life. I have no complaints. I got to have a great job all my life. Kind of hard to argue with that. Michael's got the answer on that. I'm too tired to talk about it. You can always violate a trademark and fight it in court. I guess they didn't want to. All right. Anybody want to talk about horse racing? Anybody got some Derby horses yet? Actually, we'll start talking about Derby about a month. The prep races will start. I did 20 straight Derbies. That was my favorite event of the year. Cover the Kentucky Derby. Saw all these famous sports writers back in the day, guys like Thurman Bisher and Blackie Sherrod and Murray from LA. Thurman Bisher, who from Atlanta. I just got to meet so many of the icons It was cool, to meet these guys. Now I'm like the one left. I quit going to the Derby years ago. Uh, Now I only go. I stopped going to the Preakness after 33 of them. I saw the Triple Crown winner and said, "Okay, I've done it." All my friends when covering racing, you outlast them. They're all either dead, retired, laid off. There's not a daily racing horse guy in this country for a newspaper except for like the Daily Racing Form. That's how far that has gone. I moved to football from horses because I saw where the money really was, and you could make a lot more money covering football than I could horses. So I did it. I like football too. The guy from Green Bay was amazing. I forgot his name. Which guy? I forget. Is the Derby a big drinking party, Alexander? Oh yeah, yeah. Mint juleps have 7 times. It's like a bourbon to water ratio is like 7-1. You drink a couple of those, you're gonna feel it. I'm not much on the mint part, but yeah, everybody just drinks themselves into oblivion. Um, I don't know. I don't do that anymore. When I was a young man, maybe. And Preakness is like that too, and they do get there really early. And it's not. It's not as bad as it used to be. Believe it or not, because the tracks have tried to sober things up a little. There's a lot of young children that were created at the Preakness. I can tell you that much. Preakness Infield. When am I getting my lawnmower? Asked Great Watubi. Well, it's January. I've been looking at it because I've got 3 acres of my new home. I'm starting to work on it on nicer days, and so I don't know, March, April, if I can pull it off. The Packer sports writer for the last 30 years. Oh, I know who you're talking about, Michael. I just forget his name. Favorite sports broadcaster of all time, Alex says. Well, the guy now, get old names stick. I'm tired tonight. I can't remember names. The guy on ABC will go, "Oh, Alabama." I like them. You guys will spit his name right out. Oh, Alabama. But let's see, broadcast. Well, Howard Cosell, I got to meet once. That was kind of cool. It's crazy kind of things were around there. Oh, Keith Jackson. You're right, Steve. Keith Jackson. Oh, Alabama. Loved how he said it on there. So there, I knew Pete Axtell. Had trouble with alcohol. It cost him his life. But he was a fun guy on there, Axtell. And met him at the Derby. Falling down drunk. Bob McGinn. Oh, yeah, okay. I had met him, but I didn't really know him that well, Michael. So let's see, who else? I've pretty much met everybody going through. Brent Musburger. All right, so Brent Musburger story. I covered Maryland basketball for a couple of years when my health was bad a while ago. And I had to go to Wisconsin for a Maryland game there. And I had to sit next to Musburger on the broadcasting team. Nice guy. And I was on a 6 a.m. flight. I'm in the airport. We did a night game, so you got like 4 hours sleep. Who's in line? Brent Musburger. And talking to every single person that came by that wanted to meet him. He was a nice man. Still is on there. So Bino Cook was a funny guy. He's the guy that said, what do LSU and Dracula have in common? They both suck at night. I mean, I've stole that line a few times. Bino Cook, funny guy. Dickie V is a great guy. I know everybody calls him Dookie V, but he is a great person. I really enjoy Dickie V whenever I've gotten to see him. Steve Buckhantz asked Alexander, another great guy. Who should be on the air. Steve's a great guy. Most of the TV guys are pretty cool. Some of them are a little stuck on themselves, just like there are some writers that are stuck on themselves. But most of them are pretty fun. George Michael, I love George Michael. Even though he was full of beans, but George was a good guy in the end. I was just talking about, see, I'm tired. I can already see it. The guy at CBS here in town, Glenn Brenner. Glenn Brenner. Glenn was a great guy too. Channel 8. All right, Channel 9. Come on, you guys know who this is in DC. Glenn Brenner. Yeah, so Glenn was a funny guy. I got to know Glenn just a little. And unfortunately, died young with a brain tumor. I'm covering a golf tournament. There's some guy comes out of a sand trap on a golf cart gets up in the air in a golf cart, comes down hard, slams that thing, and keeps on rocking, laughing maniacally. It's Glenn. So, it's like, whoa. So it was funny. Warner Wolf was a jerk, Alexander. He'd tell you this, but I tried to interview him a few times for things. Jerk. And it kind of broke my heart because I grew up watching him. The boo of the week he used to do. He was way ahead of his time. Went to New York and got rich there. And then came back here and was a real sourpuss. So I'm not a Warner Wolf fan. Too bad. You can't meet the legends all the time. Like, I don't know, Willie Mays. Willie's great for TV cameras, but for a print guy, bleh. So Barry Bonds is his godson, I guess. Barry made me wait 3 hours once. Bonds says, I'll talk to you guys, but I'll get to you later. We waited for 3 hours, and he just laughed and walked away from us and went and played the game. Jerk. Not getting in the HOF either. I don't know. Most athletes are pretty cool. And today, the money has changed so much of the dynamics of ball players that they're looser people now because everybody's getting paid. So they don't have to worry about that anymore. And for a while, when the money got big, they all acted like they were businessmen. But that finally burned through. And so now the money's so normal. Gordon Peterson, I've only met a couple of times, Alexander, was a very nice man. Steve asked, Jimmy the Greek used to live right here. Yes. So I met Jimmy the Greek at the Kentucky Derby. It's the day before. He tells everybody the Greek likes to hold court. He goes, I'm betting this horse at 100-1. I thought, all right, I'll throw down a couple of bucks on that one. He won. I cashed. Man, I wish I'd bet more. He was right about it. They say that Jimmy would he would call 20 different radio stations on Derby Day and give us picks, and would give out a different horse at each one, so they could always say somewhere that he won. I don't know if that's true, but that was the legend around Jimmy. So he was interesting. So I used to, when I was a horse racing guy, they used to call me the Greek, even though we saw our names differently. But but Jimmy was cool. I like the old horse guys, especially, which Jimmy was. They were funny Damon Runyon-esque characters. Jim Vance didn't ever meet Jim Vance. Yeah, I don't think I never met him because they were always in the studio pretty much. So I never got a shot to meet him. And I never did any shows on Channel 4. I don't think that's the one station I've never appeared on. Never been asked. I've been on the other station. Still do it occasionally. Somebody asked me. But now we do it on Zoom. I have to show up to the studio. And they don't have to pay. So cheap for everybody, but you still get what you want. Wow. All right, the hour's almost by. Last call to give me money. I don't know. Hey, I like tonight. It went by quicker. Good, because my eyes, you can tell, are getting tired. Had a cold, and then cold went into an ear infection. And it's 2 weeks of that. I'm finally feeling better. Last week's show, a friend of mine called me and said, God, you look horrible, man. What's the matter? I'm not feeling that great. But at least it wasn't COVID. So I told myself, you'll be all right. Quit being a sissy. But nice part now being semi-retired is if I don't feel well, I don't have to go do anything. What's the most overrated sporting event, Alexander asked? Wow, I've done them all. Man, a Stanley Cup. Wow, I'm going to get in trouble for saying that. But I've covered Stanley Cup. I mean, it's nice when the Caps won it, but other than that, the Pro Bowl. I never covered the Pro Bowl, but I would have liked to have gone to Hawaii. But one of the few states I haven't been to. But yeah, that'd been nice on there. Trying to think overrated sporting events. And the Belmont, if there's not a Triple Crown runner going, I hated doing the Belmont. It was so boring. Kind of at the end of a long trail. I love the Breeders' Cup. That's a really underrated event live. Some things that are so much better live than on TV. Hockey, definitely. The Caps games are probably the best one game events that you go to in town because the energy is just incredible. Caps games are cool. And soccer, I like soccer, but I like it live so much more. Best concert I ever saw in DC. Phil Collins. I saw him at Cap Center. Man, he was awesome back in the '80s. On there, I liked him. Saw Madonna in Toronto. I just happened to be there and got tickets, and we went. I thought she gave a great one. Um, oh, I know Elton John. Last time he was at, well, a few years ago when he was at Verizon Center, whatever we call it now. Elton John did a great one. It was like going to a Broadway show. Rocket Man was like 20 minutes long. It's pretty cool. Daytona, Joshua. I've been to Daytona, but not for a race. I was there. It was closed. Man, all I can say is that's one big building. Look at the stands, how far it is. Wow. So I didn't get to go see the race because I think I was there in July, so there was nothing going on. We went down to drove on the sand in Daytona. And then a big thunder and lightning storm came. We had to get out of there. You're there. Dale Earnhardt died. Wow, that had to be sad. On there. Yeah, I've never covered an auto race. They don't have them in Washington area. Not like that. They have Budds Creek, which is more drag racing, and it's cool. So like, I had to go do a story on a guy did pink slips, I think they were called, whatever it was, and when they were racing, and I had to go down and pit take pictures. And they said, "Here, put these things in for your ears." And I'm partially deaf, so I thought that ain't going to bother me. It was so loud, I thought I might die. The noise goes through you like you've been invaded or something, man. It hurt. Put those earplugs in. Mike Tyson. Spent the day with Tyson once. Loved him. Great guy. Late to the party, J-Dubs? Come on, man. How could Washington stop Dallas running backs without Allen? And how are the bad? I don't know, J-Dubs. They're too late with that question. I've lost my concentration. Ask me next week at 8 o'clock. Grandparents used to go to Giants games and play at the Polo Grounds. Woo. Alexander, that's old time. That must have been cool. If you ever get to go to Saratoga for the races, really unique grandstand. It's like the old Polo Grounds and stuff. And Saratoga is a great place to just go hang out, mostly August, and play horses and have fun. Hey, grandparents go to Yankee Stadium. The old days saw DiMaggio. I got to meet or say hello to DiMaggio, I should say. The Giants game I was at. After the game, we're still writing. Joe DiMaggio comes in the press box. It's like the king shows up to the New York writers, especially. So it was just really cool to meet DiMaggio like that. Let's see, J.W. Payne walks. How would you feel about starting Mathis? Well, I think you're going to have to start Mathis. Probably over Ridgeway. At least he gets the first shot because he's the second-round pick. I don't know. I saw Mathis in the off-season camps. He seemed like had potential. Wouldn't be Payne, but he might be okay. You're probably going to have to do this because I don't think they'll have the money to, keep him. Maybe he doesn't want to stay. Like that. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. I'm off the clock now. So, all right. Last calls for things. In here. If you have any other questions. Anybody going to go see 80 for 80 with the Brady movie? I know. It looks stupid. But, God, there's nothing on the movie theater. I'd like to go see a movie. What am I going to go see? That cartoon one? Avatar? Nah. But 80 for 80, I might go just to laugh at it. Who knows? Let's see. Polo Grounds. 15 minutes from the Polo Grounds to Yankee Stadium. Wow, that's a deal. I wouldn't mind doing that. Growing up here in Washington, you didn't, New Yorkers, you were like, eh. I tell you what, one of the great things I did once was walk over the Brooklyn Bridge, get to the middle, turn around, see the New York skyline. Awesome experience. Steve, you can't leave. You're always here for the whole show. I guess I got to leave if you're leaving. And Alex, yeah, I agree. Alex, it's just not much for movies anymore. Well, God, if Steve leaves, I guess we got to go. So, how you like that? Blame Steve for the show ending. I'm Rick Snider for Rick Snider's Washington. Thanks for coming. See you soon. You can watch this on replay. It'll start again anytime now. It's always on. More people watch on replay than live. So, Steve's staying. Okay, we can stay another minute. The movie theater at Cap One Arena, they're announced they're closing it. Part of a national close down. So, man, that was always a big thing there. Alex, thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. Like I said, if you watch on replay, you can see the whole thing. Tonight was kind of a wide open theme, but that's the off season. It's okay. We don't have to sit here and go, well, if the Commanders would draft this guy. I mean, come on, man. Yeah, after a while, we got to talk about something else once in a while. Turner Classic Movies on your new team. I switched from Verizon to Comcast because they don't have Verizon where I moved to, and they don't have, and I don't get Turner Classic Movies anymore. What a bummer. I'm not sure. And last week, I lost my Comcast signal. I got one channel for 4 days before they could come out and fix it. Something with a router. One channel is all I got. The Sci-Fi channel. It was kind of weird, but got to watch stuff. And my wife got one channel in her room. She watches a lot. My hand on the Bible. It was QVC, her favorite channel. I don't know how that happened. And that's all we got for 4 days. And then they came out, and the guy in 15 minutes fixed it. And there you go. The guys on, if you ever have to call for service, they go, okay, can you unplug this? Can you unplug that? Just tell them send somebody out. That's all nonsense. They said, oh, you got something wrong in the yard on the cable. It wasn't anything to do with that. Guy came out and said, oh, it's a router. I need a new one. Put it in. Done. So, whatever. All right. So, yeah. All right, Steve. Steve wants to go, so do I. I'm Rick Snider. I already did this one time for Rick Snider's Washington. But thank you all for coming again. I appreciate it. And we'll do at least the next couple of Mondays, well, until the Super Bowl. We'll see. Day after Super Bowl is February 13th, so I can still do that one. Because it's the 14th. I get it for that up there. So, and then maybe I'll take a couple of weeks off, and then we'll come back for stuff. Who knows? I'll play it week to week. But anyway, thanks to all of you. Remember, I have shows on the morning and evening, 6 a.m. I auto schedule, and around 5 p.m. For the day. So there's stuff going to be happening. There's always something happening. All right. Enjoy the weekend's games. I'll see you all later. Thanks for coming, everybody. Thanks, Steve and Alex and Michael. And, I probably can name everybody because we don't have that many people on tonight. J-Dubs, I'm sorry. Ask me next week. And we're done. Bye, everybody.